and she looked into the kitchen where Dee was. Ma, this kid's got to go to bed because I think she needs to be in the crib. Wow.
New Line Cinema presents a horror film, Siblings. Like, that's...
Yes.
Scary.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Hey, this is Jim Breuer. Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing, Mike?
What's going on, man?
I'm doing good. We got a fun show today. Today is a fun day. And not only is it a fun day, I'm having a couple friends on today. One you're going to see in the future, March 9th at the Paramount, hosting the show, which I think is going to turn into a cool idea for him, and he's, whatever. He's a great friend, and we'll get into all that. And then, this is gonna be fun. I want to hit a subject that a lot of us may not know about, and we'll get into that too. We'll get into, sugar. I know this. Oh, Mike, do you have my song, Sugar Rush?
I do.
Yes. Okay. And I'll make sure I contact who I got to contact for that too. I think we got to contact YouTube and let them know it's all right to play the song Sugar Rush, which is kind of funny. It's a funny song. We'll get into that too. So today, well, without further ado, let's bring. I feel like a kid and I want to hang out and play. Let's bring on comedian Rich Aronovitch. RichIsFunny.com. Rich is funny. Rich. What are you? You never surprise me, Rich. What is? You got white headphones. What's going on here?
My other headphones broke. They're just they literally. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but it rhymes with Moe's, and they're just hanging like this on one ear. They broke on the way to a gig, so I put my headbands around them. Like, if you look at my videos, I have those headbands, and I happen to have them. Yeah. So I'm on the plane, and people are like, okay, don't sit next to this guy. It's a assigned seat. How you doing? Long flight. And so I had them around my head so I could hear, this movie or whatever. And so when my wife was like, oh, just take mine. I don't use them. I'm like, okay. So I have.
Are you doing gigs in New York City?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what are you doing? You're at the Cellar a lot.
I'm at
right?
the Cellar in Gotham, every now and again.
Oh, Gotham! I love Gotham. The Mazzillis.
Yeah, the Mazzillis. They love you. We love each other. Everybody love.
Yes.
They're great.
Everyone loves each other. Look at that hair, man.
Oh yeah. I woke up 10 seconds ago. I was going to take a 10-minute nap, and my wife. I was like, "Hey, make me in 10 minutes," and that was an hour ago. Maybe 2 hours. We have a brand new baby.
Yeah, how's that going?
Okay, so for the first 3 months, he would wake up every hour to an hour and a half. And so I was, there's a lot. If you don't look at my search history, and it's not because it's anything dirty, it just says adoption, where to send adoption, leave in front of firehouse, dumpster. Okay, then he started smiling at you. You look at him and he's smiling. You're like, oh, we're keeping this. And then someone at the Cellar, one of these comics, who I left a snoo, and it's been passed from different, and it's a smart, so it moves, and then it senses when he's upset, so it moves more and makes like, and it rocks him to sleep, and so we've gotten more sleep over the last. I would say 2 weeks.
Whoa. What is this thing? I think a lot of young parents would like to know about this. What is this?
It's called Mortgage Your House and Get the Snoo. And it's called Your Kids Will Sleep, but They Won't Eat, the Snoo. So are you having financial hardships? Well, they're going to make it a lot harder. The Snoo. So yeah, it's 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 a smart bed, and it works for a while. You strap the kid in, the little baby, and its hands are not doing this all night, waking
Okay.
itself up, and it moves. It moves like back and forth, like slowly rocks gently back and forth. And the more upset,
All night?
all night, all night.
And the more upset, so it feels its mood?
It feels, yeah, it literally feels it, and will do more rocking, and then it goes more and more. And if it stays upset too long and it doesn't work, it shuts down. And then it's just like, all right, time for you to be a parent.
It doesn't get mad for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Yeah, that's exactly what it does. It lifts the baby, it shakes it just enough, and then puts it down. Yeah.
Oh my! So now you have two.
We have two. My oldest, I cannot believe how great he's been around. He's like, all he does is hugs him and kisses him, and I love my baby brother, and he's not jealous at all. And and you're like, oh, this was almost worth it. And it's great. It's just so cute.
I got news for you, Rich.
It's gonna change. I know.
No. That kid waits till you're not looking. He knows how to play you. He knows how to play mommy. But don't think for 1 second when the two of you, he's got his eyes. He's watching you. He knows you're out there in the streets dancing. He knows when you're doing shows. He knows when you guys are up there. And when no one's looking, he goes to that newborn baby and go, you listen to me, you little punk. You watch yourself because this is my house. I was here first. I don't like you. And when they're not looking, I'm going to squeeze your head and you're going to cry and I'm going to say, he's tired. I'm helping him. You know, I caught my oldest. I caught Gabby doing that one time. Kelsey, I was watching the kids and Gabby was all about the new baby and da-da-da. And I was coming, remember the house I had in Jersey?
Yeah.
And when you came through the garage and then you go up the little steps into the foyer, and I hear like Kelsey whining, my middle one. She could barely move. And I turn the corner and my daughter has her leg on top of the baby like this, looking around. And she's going, I think the baby's tired. She needs to go in her crib. What, you sick 2-year-old child? That's the kid wasn't even 2.5 years old and already knew how to get this kid out of the room. She had her foot on top, not in a like violent, but she held it down so she couldn't move. And the more she couldn't move, she was like, and she looked into the kitchen where Dee was. My wife said, Ma, this kid's got to go to bed because I think she needs to be in the crib. Wow.
New Line Cinema presents a horror film, Siblings. Like, that's
yes,
scary.
And you didn't. Well, you had siblings, but were you guys?
My sister. But the age difference is important. What's the age difference there? 2? This is 3 years. This is 3 years. So he's just.
Well, no, they're 3 years too. They're 3 years too.
Well, they just have darkness inside them. I don't know what to tell you. But
well,
do you know my son? Yeah. My son yesterday, he goes like this. He goes, "You going to work?" he squinted his eye. He looked.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100. I was cracking up. I'm like, oh, I was dying. He goes, "You going to work?"
You going to work?
Yeah. Like, you gonna leave me now?
Does he understand what that is yet? Like, does he understand what you do?
Like, I had a 4-day gig, and he's like, why aren't you winding it down? I was like, I had to go work. And he's like, but why? And I'm like, because I wanted to be able to give you this. I had a little, surprise for him or whatever. Of course he doesn't understand. He just understands.
No, he doesn't know.
Like, going away is work. He doesn't really get it. But every time I go to work, he goes, make the people laugh. Ha, 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 ha. He goes, make the people laugh. Ha, 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 ha. And I go, what's Daddy's joke? And he goes, joke, 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 ha, ha, ha. Like, mocking me. Joke, 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 ha, ha, ha.
Now, speaking of making people laugh, are you ready for March 9th?
Oh, yeah.
I think this.
I'm a little bit.
What?
I'm a little nervous. Because Your demographic in the Paramount is like, hey, what are you looking at? No. What are you looking at? Oh, wait, it's a mirror. It's like a lot of tough guys and two for flinching.
For people that don't know, on March 9th, I'm playing the Paramount, which I'm always there. And we're going to have, I want the lights go down, the spotlight starts spinning, and you come out and you doing your thing. You dance your way to the stage. I think the crowd's just like I think they're going to go nutso. First of all,
yeah.
I think the music's going to make them nuts. And then once they see you, I think they're going to either the chicks are going to dance and the guys are going to start giggling or whatever. And then by the time you get the stage and you're doing stand up, they're going to be like, all right, I got it. I totally get it. I totally get it. And I think it's going to be the beginning of something really cool. Just the beginning. Like I'm already ready to talk to the agents, and I told you I talked to the guys at the Paramount. They're kind of like, okay, we'll see. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot of fun. I think so. I think it's going to be awesome. The only part I'm not sure about is the in between, like before, like when Sib is done, you go up and you start the show. And then Sib goes up and does his stand-up. Then I don't think we do an intermission. It's that. I think you come back up and maybe that's the only part I'm not sure about. Like maybe another
I did this.
I was split second in the balcony or something like that.
Yeah, I did this in I mean, if we have a wireless mic, then we have no limits, right? But we have
a wireless mic. We can get a wireless mic.
I'm sure they have that at the Paramount. So I did something like this at the Comedy at the Carlson. I was headlining, and it was like the worst weekend. It was like that between, you don't say Black Friday, it's Of Color Friday, and whatever the next week, and it was like it's just a dead weekend. It's just a dead weekend. And so the Saturday, like they did the show, and I was like, you know what? Let's experiment. So I put on the outfit and did the show in like with the bell bottoms and the things. And I found something in there, which is, you hit your music and then you stop it and you act like nothing happened. And it's pretty funny. Once they know you're the dance guy and you just blah, 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 and you stop. And they're like, oh, that's funny. Cause it's like, I'm acting like, like I started and then it's like a segue, so I'm from New Orleans, like nothing. And then it's like, whoa, this is pretty. So I'm in on the joke. And the other thing I realized I did it the Islanders kept hiring me, and that's yeah. And I mean, I was like Jumbotron fame, so I couldn't get from A to B without, hey, take a picture and this, that kind of thing. So now different kind of a medium, right? It's like they know it's dance because it's like, hey, it's the fun, but and I'm jumping on the rails and I'm doing going crazy, and I've got this ridiculous Russian hat on with the Islander stuff. But it told me like people can get this even if it's not their thing. I mean, the proof is in the proof is in there because it's like I'm getting recognized all the time for it, and there's millions of views. I'm like, this is my fear talking. Don't listen.
Yeah, man, it's your fear. You went for. I couldn't believe you committed. I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then I remember I texted you when you were on the cruise and went, oh my God, this is yes. And then in my head I was like, what do you do with this? Like, and then we were in Pennsylvania, me and Joe Sid were like, bing, oh my God.
Yeah.
He comes out and he's doing stand-up, and then he brings whoever he wants on, and then it could be a scan, and then he brings someone from the audience, he makes them get dressed, and he makes them do his stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely, and it's also different. Like, why is this different than Bert Kreischer taking off his shirt?
What's the exactly
right?
Bert
so
takes
Carnival.
He takes his shirt off and he tells the stories. Right, and he's doing stand up. Right, he's still funny. That's all that matters. So as long as you're funny, no one cares.
Right.
I'm gonna bring on a friend, Mr. Scientist Tim Lee. Is Tim here? There he is.
I'm right here. Yes.
How you
doing?
You sound great, Tim. How's it going out there?
I did. It's rainy. It's super rainy. It's actually rainier than it was during our Hurricane Hillary.
Oh, wow. Do you
Thanks.
know, I don't know if you know Rich Aronovitch, but Rich, Tim, Rich.
Hey, how you doing, Rich?
Nice to
Thank you
meet
guys
you.
Yeah.
thank you for participating today. Are you, for a second, I thought you're like next to the shower curtain, but no, that's a regular curtain. And you're,
Yeah, I just like to, video conference from my bathroom.
how are
It's too
things
much.
going by you, Tim? How's life in general?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at home with 3 kids.
Yes,
so
I know. And I don't
I stay. I don't move far. I don't go very far.
no, I know that. I know there's not a whole lot. I've been watching when you do stand up, do you
Yeah.
because I've been watching some of your clips, like the ones when you have a board behind you and you're doing a whole presentation. Do you do that at all the stand-up shows, or is that just once in a while? Because I was dying watching that.
Some will see a kitchen sink or a place to wash your dishes, whereas my roommate sees a place to urinate. Some will see a glass of beer, whereas others will see a reason to live. Whereas my roommate sees a place to urinate.
Do you know what I'm referring to?
I do that. Oh, I used to do it all the time. Now I'm mostly around San Diego. I got a lot of people coming to the shows now because of the Instagram. It's pretty popular on Instagram,
Yeah.
and so they want to see that. So I do that.
Yeah.
There, whenever that goes on. I didn't do it for a couple of years, probably 2 or 3.
Okay.
I hardly ever did it for 2 or 3 years
All right.
because I was mostly hosting shows. But now, I have a ton of that material, and I'm writing more of it now because there's a lot of demand for it.
This sounds good. Rich,
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, you guys are completely opposite ends. You're full blown. We're silly. Tim's right here.
I'd like
funny.
to show
I'm
you
the
the
straight
structure
man.
of the
He comes
show.
in like a stealth. Like he'll come in like that, and then all of a sudden, and then as he goes away, he's, oh wow. Where me and you are just like we're out
Yeah,
there in the face.
yeah.
So, gentlemen, today's subject, I don't know if you know about it, since we all have children. Rich, you have the youngest children. As we go through the age of health and everything else, today we're going to pick the subject of sugar. And I don't know if either one of you realize the power and the effects that sugar have on your system. Let's start with this little video. Mike, play this guy talking about sugar. This is a powerful thing right here.
So if you actually want to just take a scientific approach to analyzing the negative impacts of drugs, sugar would be at the top of the list. Sugar would be above heroines, methamphetamines, any other drug. If you attribute the deaths to sugar versus any other drug, it dwarfs it. The fact that it doesn't, immediately make you high like an opioid right away, it actually makes it more dangerous. It's more nefarious, but it's highly addictive. If you do brain scans, which they've done, of the dopamine receptors in your brain with sugar versus opioids, it triggers the exact same parts of the brain.
Now, I don't know if I will tell you this. When it was the holiday, what do you say, Rich?
I don't know. I know a lot of drug addicts and alcoholics, and I've never heard one story. I was behind a dumpster for a Twix. I had a wig on for a little Twix. I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's gonna, but apples and cartel.
Yes, I don't think anyone's going to go to rehab for sugar.
I definitely listen. There's people that have legitimate. I know people that are food addicts and they have like real issues with it. And the problem with that kind of addiction is you have to eat. So it's not like alcohol where you're like, oh, I have to have a glass of wine to live, right? But it's hard for me as someone who understands this world to be like, really,
Sure.
I left my kids. I left my kids for a Mr. Good bar. I mean, okay, I get it. It's bad.
I got you. I totally understand your point. Yeah, you're 100% correct. I don't think there's anyone out on the street and we stop and we talk to a homeless person, like, what's going on? They're just sucking on a Milky Way. But what I will say this. It was during the holidays. You know how all the kids make the gingerbread houses?
Mm-hmm.
So one night, now I do my best not to have sugar anymore because for me, which is nearly impossible, when I have sugar, I realize my face will break out or something. I'll get sick in 2 days or whatever. Sometimes it could be so. The kid, I haven't touched sugar in a while, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the gingerbread houses at the end of the night, and I started with a jelly bean, a freaking jelly bean. That someone left a bowl of jelly bean. Well, the jelly beans led to the entire bowl of jelly beans. I beat the snot out of. That then led to the roof of one of the gingerbread houses. There was a fat Santa Claus that was made of all icing. Killed that. I just completely destroyed 3 different gingerbread homes in less than 20 minutes. And I can feel it in my face. I can feel the sugar coming out of my face. It was disgusting, but I couldn't help myself. It was out of control. But I think sugar causes way more defects in all of us than we actually realize. And that what I mean by is, I don't know if you've seen this. Show these charts, Mike. Sugar in a child's brain is called ADHD. Do we believe that? Do we believe in ADHD?
Do I believe in ADHD? No, I don't.
I don't either.
I think paying attention to your environment is what we call ADHD now, instead of paying attention to your teacher or whatever you're supposed to be focusing on. We're adapted to pay attention to our. I don't know if I told you this a long time ago. I lived with a hunting gathering tribe in Jambi in Sumatra.
Who hasn't?
So
right?
Whoa.
30 years. Yeah. I spent a month with them, and I remember they were so much more in tune with everything that was going on around them. I was always thinking, because I was a student, I was thinking and writing to that. I mean, I was paying attention, I thought, as I was walking, but not really. They pay attention to everything that goes on around them. And because, right, they'll spot something. They're like, oh, wow, that fruit tree is almost ready. So next week we should come back here and climb up the tree and get the fruit. Or you have to pay attention to predators. Right. They'll see prints, right? They're walking straight ahead and they'll notice a tiger print in the mud or something like that. Like, oh, we got to be careful. Things, whereas I'm lost in my head thinking about whatever it was, physics or a book or whatever you're thinking about, because I've been in school for so long. We're taught not to do that. We're taught to think about abstract subjects and focus our environment out, right? Even programming, which I have to do, which I do for my day job. I program, and then everything's quiet around me. I don't have to pay attention to anything, and I can just focus on this weird thing. Well, if I did that out in the wild, I'm going to get killed, right? Because I'm going to stumble on something that's slippery, right? When you're walking, there's slippery roots everywhere. You got to notice that kind of stuff, or you're not going to notice a tiger track, and you're not going to notice you're walking to someplace dangerous. Yeah, all that stuff. So paying attention to your environment is adaptive. Now we're asking kids who have been bred to do that. When you're a boy, this is natural. When I was a little kid, I loved being outdoors and doing all that kind of stuff. We're asking them to do the exact opposite. Forget paying attention to your environment. Just get it all out of the way and instead focus on this.
Yes. Yeah. As Rich has ADHD.
Now, can I just say, I'll
Go
say
ahead,
this,
Rich.
because I'm old enough to know when we didn't grow up with cell phones, and I had not one single class that I could not stay the whole class without having to go to the bathroom, because there was just like something inside me, and then I leave drawers open, and I think there's a cop out of like, let's just call him ADD, take some pills, versus there is some definitely attention issues that I have where my brain, while I'm talking to you, I'm listening to your buzz, I'm listening to see the babies going. There's a lot of going on at one time, which I think is also what fuels some of my comedy. But I definitely think my brain is not the same as We're walking through the environment. I see a predator. Are you a producer? It doesn't work the same way. You know what I mean? The joke was the producer was a predator. You get it?
No.
You get it?
Yes, I totally get 100%.
But I'm not saying. To me, I was like, oh, that's just called being a kid. But I still have issues where if you look up the quality, because I've never been diagnosed. I was like, whatever. If I have it, I'm not taking pills for it. This is part of what makes me great. So, or special who I am. So, but there is things that you could do to counter, like make lists and go through the list. Because I start to clean, and it's like I'm here, and then I start there, and I'm 7-inning pitcher wherever I go. So it's just why, like, you remember we used to tour, and I'd show up to a place, and it looked like a zit popped.
Oh my God!
Right? You'd be in the room 4 minutes, and it was like, who robbed this kid? Well, how he got robbed? Go ahead,
Tim. I would knock on Rich's door. We're not even in the hotel 10 minutes, and I'd open the door. I'm not exaggerating. It looked like someone opened the door and would open a suitcase and just go like this with their clothes, and then throw them everywhere. However, I don't think that's AD.
What is it?
I don't think that's ADHD.
I don't think that ADHD. I think we are not supposed to live in a society like this. This is a created society. So in a natural element, if you took your son and you just brought him outside, he's going to find something. He's going to be creative, and he's going to zone into something for a long time. We have phones. When you're in school, we're not meant to be in a school. We're not meant to be in a classroom. I don't care what anyone says, especially as a child. And they start children even younger now, 2 years old, 3 years preschool. A boy needs to be in nature. I know some of the wildest kids that get in trouble in school, and you stick them outside and they're fine. Or you give them something of interest that they are interested in, and there's no ADHD anymore. I believe that whole concept was created for two things. One, by the monsters to keep you in the school and learn what they want you to know and learn. And I think it was also created so they can sell more drugs. You know, what another way to just start sticking drugs in a child is perfect, and then you stick a drug in them, and they're like this. I mean,
but when I grew up, there wasn't those
kids
drugs.
doing incredible.
Because
they weren't. The pharmaceuticals didn't realize they could make that much money yet.
Correct, but I'm saying is
there
wasn't 80. It didn't. It's a later thing,
right?
But I look at the characteristics and I go, because I've never been diagnosed, I've never went to doctor. I have no interest in that. I don't want to take a pill to make me behave. So but I looked at the whole, I go, oh yeah, got it. Okay, great. So it's like, something I just deal with.
You're sitting there, and you froze, by the way.
I did.
You sit there and you make a list. Well, that's because you're trying to do 20 different things. So of course I do the same thing. It's not ADHD that, like today I make alarm clock now. Okay, 2:00 I got to talk to so and so. 2:20 I got to make reservations for this. And because without it, we're not meant to have 50, 20, 10 things on our minds all day. It's not natural humanity. It's just not. I don't care what anyone says. This is a bizarre, forced society. That's another whole subject. What were you going to say, Tim?
I think you're onto something there, that there's a difference between having behavioral differences and having a disease, right? So they're saying some people pay attention better in school and some people pay attention worse in school. Okay, that's fine. There's differences everywhere. Some people are taller, some people are shorter, some people are better at basketball, some people are worse at basketball. You know, that doesn't make it a disease. And a lot of it is like, once they can label something and you can get the drugs, then there's money behind it.
Always,
right?
Always.
Once the drugs are out there, then there's money behind this diagnosis.
Correct.
And we need to separate from what is an actual disease from what is just difference among people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I agree.
A lot of people are using these drugs now so they can focus. Especially in my industry, like when I'm a computer programmer, people use ADHD drugs all the time.
Yeah. Because
it's just not natural to sit in front of your computer all day and type and think about that kind of stuff.
No.
That's not, how I grew up. I mean, and even not so long ago, it wasn't even an option, right? You were either a farmer or you worked in a factory or something like that. You didn't sit in one spot.
Or you're looking for paths from a tiger. You're looking for tiger prints.
Yeah, hunting, gathering thing. It really did impress me. Like everything they thought of all the time, because it was like, man, it's really scary just to even sleep at night, right? Because we had dogs that would bark if something too big got close. But I mean, it was like there's no walls.
Well,
and
that's also learning the animals. Like if I like today. I ran outside because all the birds were going crazy. I now know when the birds are going crazy, they're warning you that either a hawk is in the area or there's a predator in the area about to go. So it's you learn like, oh shoot, something's what are these guys? You know, it's just you know, I go to Africa. Gosh, now it's like twice a year, and one of the coolest things I ever saw was sort of like what you're talking about with the honey. Hunters and gatherers, and I followed them for a day, and they found a beehive that had to be 5 feet. Had to be 5 feet, and they had a whole system on how to climb this huge tree, like monstrosity of a tree. Everyone had a place. The young kids were getting dried up, you know, like grass. Other ones were getting twigs and they were putting it in there like a ladder, and then they were lighting a fire, and then the guy climbs to the top, he smokes them out, and they get a thing and they chop them down, and they all run from the bees, and they all had something. They're like, oh, we get to eat for like a day and a half. It's amazing. So, all right, show the next clip. I'm not sure we sold Rich there, but okay. Sugar in the brain is called Alzheimer's and dementia. I think what they're saying here is they are, and I don't know this for a fact, so I don't want everyone to go, this is false facts. I don't know. But I've heard, and I could say with my dad too, Alzheimer's, they've noticed sugar in the brain. So sugar in the brain is called Alzheimer's dementia. That I don't know for a fact, but I don't know if that's it. Let's look at the next one. I got nothing on that one. Sugar in sleep is called insomnia. Do you think sugar can keep you up all night? Like, is either one of you guys have problems with sleeping? And then you realize maybe it's from the amount of sugar you ate all day?
I mean, I'm definitely noticing a problem when I have, you know, a certain amount of coffee after a certain amount of hours. But
do you put sugar in the coffee?
No. I think
you drink it black.
It's of color. I drink it of color, and I think, but I also think. Listen, I think it's also of. I think it's different sensitivities to different things, just like taste and everything else. Like, and by the way, it's not that I don't think. I think ADD, ADHD is definitely oversold. To sell drugs, I definitely agree with that point. But I do think there is, for me, an attention issue that I learned to adapt like the tiger and go, oh, my brain works like this. So for me to survive, I can't be walking around, and this is also systemic of our society, with my cell phone out. Do you know how many times I'm walking and I'm about to hit someone, I go, look up, look up, look up, look up, survive, look up. Crossing the street, people. I bike in New York, and I blare music to give me a chance. And how many times I'm going, big, I'm going to hit you. Bike coming, look, yo. Like, I scream constantly. I'm done with biking. But anyways, I just realized just now, you're gonna die. But I have to do that because people are, you know, God forbid, I have 8 seconds. Let me check my Instagram, like my likes, my email. So so I think it's getting worse because of that we have computers in our hands now, which is making it worse.
No doubt.
When
that iPhone first came out, I thought it was going to be fantastic, you know, because I'm like, now I can look up whatever I need. You can record things. I was recording jokes into it. And I was like, this is such a great tool. But all of it has been used all that function has been used either to spy on us and then to use the spy data to manipulate us into grabbing our attention. However,
when I Google Acura, and then all of a sudden my Facebook I thought that was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
I thought it was a funny coincidence. If I say
Crazy.
if I say some certain words and then all of a sudden I get an ad, you mean that was just a coincidence? Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
It's nuts, right?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It's nuts. It's really nuts. So now I say, money showing up at my door, people sending money, how to make tons of money when doing nothing. Lots of money just showing up my door. Free prizes sent to me. Okay.
But I don't know. I don't want to get ahead because I'm sure you're going to get to this. But I was just, are you good? Is there more on the sugar? Because
yeah, but go ahead. What were you going to say? Go.
I was talking to somebody because I know there's definitely a correlation between like the worst thing for cancer. My friend's got heart issues, and he was talking about. He's like, before I do the surgery, I talked to this. There's a guy in LA I'm going to see. He's got herbs. They've been doing this for 30 years, and he's like, listen, before you get the surgery, let me try to see if I could work my stuff on you. And he's like, I don't know if it's whatever it is. And I go, maybe it's psychosomatic. I go, what do you think is in the rainforest? Cures to everything that we just haven't figured out. I said, asametetin, whatever, the headache medicine, that was originally a plant that someone figured out. All these drugs are originally plants. So that's nothing crazy about it. And I definitely think that, yes, processed sugar. I'm not talking about fruit that's naturally found. And you're like,
no.
Because people are trying to sell you like, don't eat fruit, you're going to get fat. I'm like, nobody's getting fat on an apple. Shut up. But I'm talking about processed sugar. And by the way, it's also very obvious. My wife's European, and the European diet's bad. All they eat is eating cheese and bread. They should be houses. And they're all skinny and they look healthy because they don't have preservatives and BS in their food like we do in America. And I definitely agree that there is just a cancer of a systemic problem in that they're poisoning us and we just gotta take it because there's nowhere to go like, hey, I'd like clean food. Doesn't exist in this country.
Yeah.
Does not exist.
That's weird, right? Because we used to know everything because we grew our own food and we made it. When I was in villages, I would see them. They make their rice, they beat it up, whatever. You could see exactly what's in your food. I have no idea. I trust the label, but I don't even know if that's what's in there.
Oh, the old xanthium gum, huh? You know what I mean? It doesn't. You got a stick of xanthium gum? Yeah. If you
I never realized
the smakalaka moxaben. There's things you look at the back of a label. You're like, oh, I've never. What do they just take they just took a bunch of letters, put them together, and like eat this. And you're like, sure, okay. And that's why like the Larabar, you've like, I've heard of dates, I've heard of apples, I've heard of 4 ingredients. Okay, this feels safe, right? That feels better. But then you start looking at the labels, you're like, it's organic, oh, gluten. Let's sell them on gluten. Let's distract them with gluten. Yeah. Gluten's the enemy. Yeah. Gluten's going to get you. Oh, peanuts. Yeah. Peanuts is going to get you. And then you realize it's like, oh no, everything is like, what the hell is in this? And listen, there is a definite correlation. We go to a birthday party and they like to do this. They're like, okay, let's all sing happy birthday. And all the 3-year-olds, here's some sugar. Now, parents, you go deal with them. Yeah. And he's running around like a top, and and then he's now he's like, I'm going to tantrum. Where's my fix? Right? What we're doing? No, I don't want to. Yeah. And you're like, what the hell happened to my kid? Well, because we gave them some narcotics that are at that age for sure. I definitely agree. There is like you can see the processed sugar, and it's but it's delicious. But we do that. I mean, I could go with one little. I just got one little bite of ice. That's why they make them that pint. They made them bigger. I'd eat the whole thing. I just go.
Yeah. So let's look at the other charts real quick, and then we'll do. Were you going to say something, Tim?
Yeah, I think they need to focus on because with smoking, one of the ways they help people stop smoking was they focused on the fact that it gave you wrinkles, right? Because everyone was smoking to look cool,
right?
And they're like, oh, but it also makes you ugly, and that helped, I think, unsell smoking even more than lung cancer, which is counterintuitive.
It's crazy.
I'd rather have wrinkles than lung cancer, but people are kind of vain.
Yeah.
Right. So sugar also ages your skin. Apparently.
Have you ever?
Because it makes your skin stiffer.
Have you ever gone to Utah and see like a colony of Mormons, and you're like, the ugliest person here is a 40. They're hot. There's no sugar, no alcohol. Like, why are you so good looking? And you're like, oh, they don't put anything in their bodies. There's no
That's
no
right.
caffeine, no alcohol, no. I don't think they eat sugar. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm like,
I think they eat
Interesting.
sugar, but they're very healthy lifestyle, and they do look much better.
what is-
right?
yeah.
Anytime you go to one of those, well, I'm not saying Mormons are cults, but if you go into like some cult society where they have like very strong diet restrictions, like all the kids look super healthy, right? You're like, oh wow, they have rosy cheeks or whatever it is, and you're like, wow, but they're not eating the same things we are. They're not living in the same, polluted environment, and
yeah.
Let's look at the next one. This one, I wish they drilled this. Sugar in teeth is called cavities. Can I tell you, I grew up literally with, I just lived on sugar. I lived on sugar, which is, I mean, we had a candy store around the corner from us in Long Island, Valley Stream, New York. It was a candy store that we walked to as kids. And we buy the baseball cards with the gum in it, but I would always buy Suzy Q's, Nestle Quick, the strawberry. I loved Oreos. Get a little thing of Oreo.
Also, celery, grape jelly. Pizzas. We need 2 big pizzas, man, with water, whole lot of water, and Funyuns.
We ate so much sugar every day. That was our gift. And when I finally started going to the dentist, I'll never forget the woman that was you have the dentist, and then you have whatever not the assistant, whatever. There was whoever, they clean your teeth first. Like, I'm gonna tell the dentist. She sat there and she went, "Oh my God, you have to stop eating sugar." And I said, why do you know that? She goes, "You have so many holes in your teeth. You have so many cavities. If you continue at this pace, you're not going to have teeth by the time you're 40. And I'm not sure parents know that when you're given, listen, orange juice is good, but not when it has unnatural sugar in it. And you're giving your kids drinks with sugar all day long. A can of Coke. If you're drinking Coke as a child, you might as well. Look at it this way: you're going to be spending $10,000 on your kid's teeth, so your kid won't whine about a soda. You're looking at $10,000 of fixing your kid's teeth as their life goes on. Sugar completely destroyed my teeth. Completely destroyed. Think of how powerful processed sugar is. It put holes in your teeth. That's a powerful drug, bro. That's powerful.
I saw a video one
scary.
time where they showed you like the amount of sugar in this, the amount of sugar, and they did Coke,
Yes.
and it was just like, and it just piled up. Like you were like,
well, what is a gram? Like a teaspoon?
it's an 8 ball of sugar.
Do either one of you know, like what an actual, if they say a gram of sugar in there?
I would guess it's half a teaspoon. That's my just guessing by the weight, but I don't know.
Check this out.
Look it up. Yeah.
I got a Coke here. How much grams of sugar do you think is in a can of Coke?
I'm gonna go with 4.
4
No,
grams.
I'm going with like 40.
It's 40
grams of sugar.
40.
Is it really?
39 grams of sugar. So think about this. Scoop 1, scoop 2, scoop 3. 49. So if you start your day with a Coke, you've already exceeded the amount of sugar that you should be having in your system probably for 2 days. For 2 days. That's insanity. Insanity. Which brings me to...
We've got sugar, oh, doo-wop, it's just chemical. That's right. This moment has been brought to you by Geritol.
This part of the guessing game. We're gonna put cereals, because we give our kids cereals. Rich, you got young kids. I'm sure they're getting ready. Well, Your oldest one, maybe for cereal.
I-
Tim, you're
Yeah.
still eating cereal in the morning? Your kids?
I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And
All right.
So the 7-year-old, eats cereal in the morning. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go, Mike. What's the first one? Put it on up there.
All right. Guess Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch. Ooh, I loved Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch,
peanut butter
that's-
aftertaste.
Is that it?
That's the one.
Peanut butter
A
one?
bowl.
It's got a little peanut butter kick to it.
The regular Captain Crunch, the normal
With the guy with
Crunchers.
the hat.
Yeah. You know, it cuts the roof of your mouth when you're chewing it. Yeah.
Related to the
Oh, yeah.
oat guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Captain Crunch. I'm gonna say 14 grams of sugar. What do you think, Tim?
I'm going the same as the can of Coke, somewhere around 40
Wow.
milligrams.
Wow.
I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
But I don't know. That's just my tongue. That's my tongue talking.
I think I would do that with Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops, I'd go hard. I'm going to say 120,000 grams. Rich, what do you think?
$1. $1. I bid $1.
What do you think?
I think I'm gonna go with 36 grams of sugar.
36 grams. All right. And so I say 14, 36 grams, Rich, and 39 with scientist Tim.
Oh,
17.
You got it. You nailed it.
wow.
Bing, 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 bing. You know what? Thank you.
You nailed it.
I did
One cup. That's way. No one eats one cup. It's the serving
Yeah.
size is one
I was
cup.
talking about
You
2
can eat
cups,
at
so
least
I
2
got
now.
it pretty close. I was talking about 2 cups. 36.
And that's
We don't know the serving size.
Who
eats
another
one
thing.
cup
No
of
one,
Captain Crunch?
if you really think of a cup is what, like this big, like that thick and that round. That's the other thing how they get you. You know, it says 1 cup, but who does that? You do a bowl, and then the kid loves it, and they want another bowl. So technically, you're probably getting close to 49 grams if you're eating two bowls, or 1 full bowl. You're getting close to 36 grams of sugar. All right, what's the next one there, Mike?
The next one is Apple Jacks. Apple Jacks. What do you think?
Oh, I love me some Apple Jacks.
Ooh. God, Apple Jacks put a lot of holes in my teeth. Or contributed.
For 1 cup, I'm going to guess first this time. 1 cup.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going with 14 grams of sugar. 14, Bob.
I'm gonna go less than Captain Crunch. If I remember, I'm gonna go with like 8 grams of sugar. I could be way off. I'm just like wild guessing here.
What was it? We have 17. Do we have 17 guests? 14?
No, we have. I said 7. What did I say? 7 or 8. Rich is going with about 14.
If we're going with the cup again, I'm going to go with somewhere around Captain Crunch. So I'll just go with 17. I think I remember being about as sweet as Captain Crunch, a little sweeter.
Captain Crunch. You know what? It was pretty sweet too. I might have been way off. What is the answer on that cereal? Apple
13.
Jacks is 13 grams of sugar. Rich Aronovitch, absolutely crushing. Just murdered that one.
I am like the guy and I'm adapting to my environment, and I see a predator, and I know what I'm doing. All right, come on.
You have the
Give me
bionic
a blow dart. Let's get some food.
All right, let's do one last one. One last one. What do we got, Mike?
All right, the last one is Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran.
See now,
The sneaky one, the stealth bomber. Sneaky.
I would see. I used to give my dad that all the time as he got older. Maybe that's what gave him Alzheimer's. I'm kidding, YouTube. I'm not a scientist. It's a hair play.
He got it because you didn't
Raisin
put your toys away.
All right, Tim. Let's start with you. Raisin Bran. That's you would think that's.
I always hated Raisin Bran,
I
so
hate
my
it.
tongue is not going to lead.
I
hated it.
You know
So
why? Because it got
I'm gonna
soggy.
guess-
You had to eat it quick. Otherwise, it got soggy real quick. I hated when it was soggy.
Yeah, it was gross to me. My brother loved it. We did. disagreed on that. So I'm going to say I don't remember being that sweet. I don't remember if they sugar coated the raisins as well, but I'm going to go with like 10, something like that.
What about you, Rich? Raisin Bran.
Raisin Bran is the stealth bomber of sugar. I bet you it's more than all of this. It only makes sense to me in my adaptable brain. That is sugar-free. I'm going to say it's got 18 grams of sugar. You heard it here first, folks. 18 grams of sugar.
Wow.
Yes, you heard it here.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of sugar. Because you think, oh, it's like Wheaties, but upgraded. No. 18 grams of sugar.
I'm going to say... I can't see. I'm going to say 11. 11. What's the answer, Mike? 8.
Oh no!
You're cheating, Rich. He's cheating.
He's got a phone there.
Yeah, his wife is Googling or something like that.
You wish.
18
Give me my blow dart. We're
Look at
getting
the
a board.
How many cups are in that bowl, though? That's the question, right? I mean, they're cheating.
I will tell you. I
know
remember looking one time. I was trying to eat healthy for about a week, and I was looking at cereals, and I was like, "Oh, Raisin Bran," and I remember being shocked. I was like, "This has more. This one is because you don't think you're like Raisin Bran. This has got to be healthy, and it's a lie." I remember going like it's way more than I thought, but I didn't realize I was going to get it perfectly. I did not Google. I did not cheat. Swear on my kid's life, I'm just that.
I believe
good,
you.
So, yeah,
I believe you. Well, thank you guys for participating today. Make sure you look up Tim Lee. Where can it? You have the Instagram. Is it?
Yeah, Instagram. It's Tim X Lee at Instagram. If you look scientist turned comedian, it'll come up.
Yep.
I had one last thing I was going to
tell me.
Bring up just. Because they said sugar and Alzheimer's are related, and then you said sugar and teeth, right?
Yes.
Which is very interesting because there was this idea that Alzheimer's was caused by amyloid plaques, right? But that guy who was taking all these photographs, he got caught that he was doctoring up his photographs. That was one of the scientific scandals, so that they don't know that there's any connection anymore to the amyloid plaques, because this guy was just doctoring his photographs, copying, pasting stuff on his photographs. But then there's another idea that Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which my mom died of, are related to mercury. And mercury, one of the primary sources of mercury is cavities, because when we were young, they would fill your teeth with this a mercury amalgam.
Right.
And which the American Dental Association always swore to God would never leak mercury into your system. And they would point to all these studies saying at body temperature, it doesn't release mercury. But what they didn't tell you is at the temperature of a cup of coffee, this thing starts spewing mercury vapors right up into your brain. So they were telling you the truth that at body temperature, it doesn't release any mercury, but at the temperature of the foods you're eating, it does release a lot of mercury. And so mercury, as people know from something called Mad Hatter's disease. Remember the Mad Hatter? They used to get that because they would work with these mercury fumes. They put to help make the hats softer, I think it was. There was something they would do. And so the Hatters would literally be snorting in this mercury fumes, and they would go mad because mercury would cause you to go insane. And so slowly, these fillings in your teeth were releasing the same vapors right up into your brain. And so you can imagine that slowly you were chronically making yourself insane. If you look at Mad Hatter's disease and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, they have a lot of symptoms in common. And so it would be interesting to me to see if the sugar caused the cavities, which caused you to get these mercury amalgams in your teeth, and that caused you to get Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. That's what I was thinking of as we went through this.
That is really brain on bread.
I love it. Which is why we brought on the scientist, the man who studied science, Mr. Tim Lee, turned comedian, which I really appreciate your knowledge as a true scientist, not trying to be paid off to lie.
That's where the big bucks are.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you being here. Tim and Rich Aronovitch, richisfunny.com. richisfunny.com. You're going to see him March 9th at the Paramount. It's going to be a great show. Guys, all the best to you. Thanks for hanging out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Have a
Thank
good
you so much.
So there you go, everybody. just little simple part of our lives that we don't realize could be so intense and destructive. Now, I'm not going to lie. Once in a while, I do like a Coca-Cola, like with pizza, but I only have like that much in a glass with ice, and I have a sip and I'm done. I think maybe I do it once a year if I'm lucky, once a year. But do yourself a favor, just look at your sugar intake. It causes a lot more processed sugar. It causes a lot more damage than you can ever imagine, especially if you're giving it to your children. And there's a lot of sugar in a lot of juices. Juice, tons of sugar. And you think it's natural because it's juice, but you don't know that there's a lot of added sugar to it. So just be careful at home with your sugar intake and some of the issues that it may cause that you had no clue about. It's all over the shelves. It's in absolutely everything you digest pretty much. They put sugar in everything. So beware of that. Thanks for hanging out today. We wish you the very best and much love to you, your family. Catch me out on tour, jimbreuer.com for all the new tour dates. More dates are coming. And I hope wherever you are, you're just enjoying life. That's all we have. Remember, we're all on borrowed time. So all the things that you think are super important, think of the people in your life that may not be here tomorrow. The most loving people in your life, whether it's your child, your parents, your husband, your wife, your best friend, your neighbor, whoever it is, they may not be here tomorrow. So make sure you enjoy life and do something beautiful and powerful for you and for them. Much love to you guys. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out on the Breuniverse. That was fun, gang. This is Jim Breuer, and I got my own Patreon page, and hopefully you'll check it out. Live comedy concert streamed once a month. Early access to the Breuniverse podcast every single week, and have bonus footage and bonus segments. I promise you I'm not going to let you down. Go check out my official Jim Breuer Patreon page, and I'll see you there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba.